What's happening, everybody? Welcome into the Pack a Day podcast. I'm your host, Andy Herman. You can always follow me on Twitter at Andy Herman NFL. You can follow the podcast at Pack a Day Podcast. We had a very light practice on Wednesday. I was not able to attend. I guess I chose the right one to not attend. It went just a little over an hour. Sounds like it was a fairly nondescript practice, a little bit more of a walkthrough style pace. I think really kind of the main takeaways that I was able to glean, even though, again, I wasn't there. Aaron Rodgers, Mercedes Lewis get veteran rest days. So practice was mostly Jordan Love with, of course, Kurt Benkert getting some reps as well. But really the one kind of significant piece of news was that Rashawn Gary did not practice again with the groin injury. Now, if you remember, he did not practice on Monday with the groin injury, came back, practiced on Tuesday, but not with the team and the team activities, just kind of doing individual drills. Now on Wednesday, back out with the groin injury. So hopefully not something that's going to linger. You'd rather have it now than in the season, but probably at this point, smarter just to keep him rested for whatever amount of time that it takes to get that all healed up. Rashawn's not going to need a ton of reps to get ready for the season. So at this point, probably better to be safe. So those were kind of the key takeaways. It sounds like Amari Rogers made a couple more plays, including another diving reception. So he continues on his upward trajectory as well. But overall, it sounds like it was a fairly nondescript practice. And again, happy I chose that to be the one that I wasn't going to be able to make. Once again, we're having some weather here, so you may hear some thundering. Hopefully I don't get another tornado warning, although we did have that already today. So if that happens, we'll see, I guess. But if you hear anything in the background, I apologize. But let's start going through our main topic today. And that main topic is going to be where each of these rookies from the 2021 rookie class are at so far in their development through the first few weeks of training camp. So I know it's still early, right? And I know, we haven't had a preseason yet and any of it. So we always say it takes 3 years to evaluate a rookie class. Certainly it takes more than 10 practices, right? So this is not a final evaluation. This is a 10 practice report card, if you will. It's not even, you can't even say it's a quarterly report card or anything like that. It is still so insanely early in the process. But you, me, everyone loves to hear how the rookies are looking and how the rookies are doing. So this is going to be my best, I'll do my best to bring that to you today and give you all the observations that I've seen from these rookies in camp so far. The other warning here is that at this time last year, and really at the end of training camp last year, the rookie who looked best in camp last season was Kamal Martin, like by far. And now, we saw Kamal Martin struggle during the season. Ultimately, Chris Barnes is the guy at linebacker. Martin, when healthy this season, has now been working with the third team. So there is a difference between a training camp star and a star actually on the field on Sundays or Mondays, etc. So it doesn't mean that just because these players are practicing well, that they're going to be great on Sundays. It certainly doesn't mean that just because they're struggling now means that they will struggle on Sundays. Ben Fennell and I just chatted about this on the Monday edition of the Pack a Day podcast, the audio version. And, we specifically talked about how some players are just gamers. Like, they can't really get up and, get themselves as motivated for a practice, but those lights come on and the crowd is there and it's game time and you need to go out and win a game. Like, the light bulb goes off and they're 1,000,000% all in and ready to play. Others, maybe with the pads off and a little bit more relaxed atmosphere, that's their time to shine. But when the pressure hits and you need to make a play and everyone's watching you, they don't do as well. So DJ Williams was a great example of this. Tight end, I don't even know, like a decade ago now. I don't even know how long it's been since DJ Williams has been on the team. But as a rookie, he had a phenomenal start to mini camps, OTAs. Played pretty well during the preseason and got pretty good buzz during training camp. Had basically a nothing career, right? Was nothing more than a number 3-4 tight end special teams guy for a few seasons and then was out of the league. So still early, but let's go through the observations for each of these rookies up until this point. Of course, Eric Stokes starts off, and he was on my most disappointing list. What was it, last week, right around this time? I will say that Stokes over the last few practices has taken steps in the right direction. Coverage has been a little bit more sound. He's calmed down a bit. Like, I'm not saying everything's slowed down for him at this point, but you can see that, he's not pressing, and I don't mean like physically pressing at the line of scrimmage. Just pressing as much, letting the game come to him a little bit more, and not getting out of position or anything like that. Is it perfect? No. Would I still like to see some more plays from Eric Stokes? Yes. Has overall training camp so far been a struggle for Stokes? Yes. But I am, given confidence in the fact that he seems to be improving, especially over the last few practices. So preseason is definitely going to be big for Stokes. But even still, just look at last year, right? 2 top 10 picks, Jeff Okudah, CJ Henderson, Lions and Jaguars respectively. Both of them struggled through the vast majority of last season. Top even 10 picks at cornerback take time to transition from college to the NFL. It is a totally different game. There are totally different techniques that a lot of these corners are using between the two. So even if Stokes isn't ready day one to be a starter and Kevin King comes back and Stokes is relegated to mostly special teams, that doesn't mean a whole heck of a lot. This could take time. But again, where I'm at with Stokes right now is I'm happy to see the progress. I would love to see even more progress. And now the next step is to not only be, okay in your coverage, but when the ball's thrown your way, now start to make plays. The pass breakups, the interceptions, those are the things you'd like to see from a first-round pick a bit more often than what's happened so far. But again, very early for the first-round pick. Second-round pick, Josh Myers, we've talked about pretty regularly on here already. The mental side of the game has come so quickly, at least it seems like, for Josh Myers. You see him making the checks and the calls at the line, earned praise from Aaron Rodgers for how quickly he's acclimated to things. He has been the starter at center since the day he got here, and rookie minicamps, OTAs, and training camps. And it does not look like anyone's remotely close to unseating him. And this could be one of those players that is you never want to jump to conclusions here, right? But it just has the feel of somebody who would be a decade-long player in Green Bay at that center position for the Packers. He has come in and just taken this job. Corey Linsley is gone. I'm going to be fully transparent. Corey Linsley, how he performed last year was nothing short of phenomenal. He was fantastic last year. One of my highest graded players all last season. Even when everyone was realizing that Corey Linsley was playing well, I still don't think that people were realizing just how well he was playing. He was so steady, so consistent. Everything that you want from a center, Corey Linsley was providing. So for Linsley to go to the Chargers, and in comes a second-round pick, and for things to feel like normal, I'm not saying he's Corey Linsley. I'm not saying he's going to be the next Corey Linsley. I'm not saying any of that. Maybe he's a Scott Wells. Maybe he's, who knows, right? And that's not a disrespect. Scott Wells was really good in Green Bay. But who knows where he ends up in that pantheon, which has been a really good, era of Packers centers. There was the little, blip in the middle there where they had to kind of find some veterans. Jeff Saturday, who wasn't good anymore, but really from Frank Winters to Mike Flanagan to Scott Wells to Corey Linsley, J.C. Treader, like they've had a really strong run of centers. But Josh Myers looks so far like he could be the next in that line. Once the games start and how he holds up at the point of attack, can he get to the second level? And that was something that he's really good at on tape in college, but can he move people? How physical can he be? Can people get under his pads and push him back into the quarterback? How does he adjust to exotic blitzes? All of those things we're not going to know until the bullets really start flying on Sundays and Mondays and Thursdays. But this has been a very strong start to camp for Josh Myers, and it certainly looks like they've got a long-term starter at center with that second-round pick. Third-round pick, as excited as I am about the second-round pick, I might be even more excited about the third-round pick. I'm not sure Amari Rogers is going to have the impact this upcoming season that Josh Myers is going to have, just because Myers is likely going to play, if healthy, every snap at center. And even if Rogers is pretty darn good, Amari Rogers is pretty darn good, like there's just so many receivers, like he's just not going to be on the field all that much because there's just so many receivers and there's a lot of mouths to feed, and it's going to take a juggling act from Matt LaFleur to work that all out, and how many snaps each person gets, how many targets each receiver gets. All those things are going to kind of be in play. But how Amari has looked at camp, I mentioned yesterday the insane diving catch that he made and how he released from Darnell Savage on that. Just some of the stuff he does underneath, taking handoffs in the backfield, some jet sweeps, some end arounds, some orbits, like all of it. Plus, he's going to be the punt returner in all likelihood. he is going to make an impact from day one. And, the conversation and the comparison all along has been Randall Cobb. Now Cobb's back in Green Bay, but you can see that. And remember Randall Cobb's rookie season, right? Not anywhere near a full-time starter or anything like that. It took him a couple seasons to really get going, but from the first kick return against the Saints, you saw a playmaker from day one. I think Amari Rogers is going to be a playmaker from day one. It may only be in small doses until he learns the offense, learns the nuances of the game, everything like that. I would be, of all the players in the Packers draft class, I would be beyond shocked if Amari Rogers was a bust of all of them. Maybe he's never great. Maybe he's just, good to really good, but I would be shocked if he was bad. It just seems almost impossible, barring an injury that would, hamper him at some point and just not be the same after. I would be shocked if Amari Rogers would end up as a bust. He's just looked explosive, dynamic, and he understands the game at a level that I don't think most rookies understand it at. He's been very exciting. Royce Newman, really intriguing in OTAs and mini camps. Was getting spots with the ones at left guard, and right tackle. It looked like he was going to be in that conversation with John Runyon Jr. and Ben Braden and Lucas Patrick for one of the starting guard spots. Since training camp started, he has not gotten any of those looks. So it's been mostly just second team. He's still taking some reps at tackle, some reps at guard. I have a lot of faith, just even what I've seen so far in Newman, that if you need him to come in an emergency situation, I think he's going to look very similar to how John Runyon Jr. looked a season ago. Was it perfect? No. Did he get the job done more often than not? Yes. Did he show some signs of things? Yes. It looked like he could be a starter down the road? Yes. I think rookie John Runyon Jr. is going to be very similar to what rookie Royce Newman looks like this year, and the ability to give you some versatility, left guard, right tackle, maybe even a left tackle in an extreme pinch. I think that versatility is potentially going to get Newman activated on game days, at least maybe until David Bakhtiari's back. A lock to make the roster. And right now, Newman has versatility as well as time on his side. He doesn't need to start right now. They have plenty of offensive linemen that are capable of starting, especially now you've added a Dennis Kelly. But only one, two of Ben Braden, John Runyon Jr., and Lucas Patrick can start right now. Once Bakhtiari comes back, two of those guys will be on the bench. So they don't need, Royce Newman at this moment to be a starter. But if he can develop this season and be ready to start next year or for sure by 2023, this could still be a very strong draft pick for the Green Bay Packers, and I've liked what I've seen so far. TJ Slayton, 5th round pick, seems to me like he could be a steal. I really like how he's rotating in with the defensive linemen. He, to me, is already an upgrade over anything Montravius Adams put on tape in the last 3 seasons. I think he's going to be more consistent than Adams. I think he's going to be a better run stopper than Adams. And I think long-term, he can even be a better pass rusher than Adams. So still a long ways to go, but there have been plays, in practice where he's taken on double teams. He has multiple stops to his name. He's used his height to bat down balls at the line of scrimmage. And oh, by the way, he also had a pick 6. So just another great start for this rookie class. And again, are all these guys going to end up working out? Probably not, but outside of Stokes, this group, Myers, Rogers, Slayton, excited about him so far. I think Newman has long-term potential. I think Stokes, very easily with the way he's trending could get there as well. So time will tell on all of them. Shamar Jean-Charles, mostly second-team guy, playing primarily in the slot as the backup right now, or the second team to Chandon Sullivan. I don't think he's really the backup. Like if Chandon Sullivan went down, I don't think all of a sudden Shamar Jean-Charles, old habits die hard. Shamar Jean-Charles just all of a sudden goes in. I think they probably rotate some things around. Maybe they move Savage, maybe they move Jair, maybe they put Stokes in the slot, who knows? But so far he's been in the second team slot. And I think this is a long-term position for him. In the meantime, he's going to have to make it on special teams. I think that's a position, just all of the special teams, whether it's gunner, on kicks, on punts, all of that, I think he can be a really, really strong player on long-term. But that's going to be how he gets active on game days now. And then, he's probably the 5th corner. I think 5th or 6th corner once the season starts. We'll see where he ends up and if they keep a Josh Jackson or someone like that. But already well ahead of a Kadar Holloman, in my opinion, who I don't think, frankly, has any chance of making this team. Kadar, I think Shamar Jean-Charles is already ahead of him and in a good spot to really make this roster and, again, be somebody down the line that the Packers can use in maybe some nickel and dime situations, maybe 2 or 3 years, or a year or two from now, I should say. Cole Van Lanen, I'm going to be totally transparent. I just haven't seen much of him. And frankly, as an offensive lineman, anonymity is a good thing. So not noticing Cole Van Lanen is probably good for him. There's 90 guys, and you don't always catch everyone. And Cole Van Lanen, unfortunately, has just been one that I haven't seen a ton of. Still rotating in, second and third team guard and tackle here and there. We'll see once preseason starts. I think I'll get a much better look at him and maybe do a recap then. But unfortunately, just haven't got a ton of opportunity to look at Van Lanen that closely. Isaiah McDuffie, non-football injury list this entire time. He looks like he might be getting closer to returning, working off to the side. Usually that's the precursor to getting back on the field. He needs to get out there. This is somebody that they could probably really use from a special team standpoint. The Packers linebacker room is not going to be easy to break, especially if you need to make your name on special teams, because both Oren Burks and Ty Summers are core players on that team. Kamal Martin's going to make the roster. You know that. Campbell's going to make the roster. And then, of course, Chris Barnes is going to make the roster. So, if McDuffie wants to make it, it seems like he's going to have to beat out either Burks or Summers, which Summers doesn't seem likely. Burks is having actually a fairly nice camp so far, and both those guys being so ingrained on special teams, I think it might be very difficult to keep Isaiah McDuffie. So we'll see what happens, but he needs to get back sooner rather than later. And then, of course, last but not least is Kylan Hill, who I spoke about a ton yesterday. I am still irrationally excited about Kylan Hill. Time will tell if that excitement pays off during games. But as I mentioned yesterday, nothing that he can't do. He can catch, he can block, he can run, he can do everything, right? So he gives me some late round steal vibes. There's some Aaron Jones to him. There's some work done to him. He's just a really fun player. And I'm excited for you guys that haven't had a chance to see him at practice to see him during preseason, because hopefully what I'm saying rings true and you're going to be able to see him put on hopefully a special performance in preseason. Otherwise, you'll get to come and comment and say, Andy, what the heck were you talking about? This guy looks terrible. And that'll be fun for you as well. So either way, win-win for you. But I think he's going to be a really fun player. Now, I don't think that means anything besides number 3 running back this season, and he's going to have to earn any rep that he gets. But I think he's by far the leader in the clubhouse for that number 3 running back position. He's going to make the team. He's going to be the kick returner. And if anything happens to Dillon or Jones, you're going to see him get snapped. So going to be a fun player, absolutely, to keep an eye on this preseason. All of these guys are going to be, and hopefully McDuffie can get back sooner rather than later. That's going to do it for me today. Thank you so much for joining me. Appreciate it as always. You don't have any idea how much it means to me that you guys take some time out of your day to join me for this. So thank you so much. Make sure to check out today's audio version of the podcast wherever you get your favorite podcasts. I'll be right back here tomorrow. So subscribe if you haven't already. But until next time, and as always, go Pack Go.